All right, RZR Adventure fans, today's the day. We have a Saturday to work. We're going to get to work on the transmission. So far, all we gotten done is cleaned out the garage enough to get in here. And we're getting going. I got lots of help, so we're going to move fast. Do a quick update. We're getting these sides torn apart. Christopher's starting on his side over here. I'm working on my side over here. I've got the wheels off. I got the axle pulled out. We had just replaced that axle from destruction on Drummond Island. So I've got secondary clutch out. I'm getting ready to take my T60 and pop this bolt out here, and then we should be able to use the new tool that I got. Should be able to use that to pop that primary out, and then we can start taking the rest of this case out, or the belt case cover, whatever you want to call it. So that's where we're at. So we thought we were in luck, but I got this bolt out. This is a 60, or I'm sorry, a T60 to get that out of the clutch. Ordered this nice tool. It is not small enough, if you can see from that or not. So we are back to the drawing board on tools. It's Saturday, like 1:30. Nobody's got tools for me, so I'm gonna have to order another tool. I've said tool a few times. Hey, we're gonna use one of our other tools here, and we're gonna put our lift blocks in. I'm not gonna do the whole lift today, but we're gonna compress some springs and throw these 3-inch blocks in there while we got things apart. We've got the spacer in between the crossover ring here. I think that's what it's called, the slider. We used our spring compressors to compress the shock, to pull the retainer and the guard holder off, and put it back together. I measured the length I had here on this shock. I forgot to measure it on this one, but I just matched the two together. So it should be good now, except 3 inches more. My help kind of bailed on me. So I'm gonna take this other side apart myself and get it done real quick, and we'll move on to the next part of the project. Okay, in the last clip I talked about having the wrong clutch puller. That was this one. Then I ordered this one. Now today I came home with this one. We were having a heck of a time here. So I finally watched a video, and this is an insert and it comes out. Now I'm still not 100% sure I have the correct clutch puller, but we're going to take these bolts out, pop this off so I can pull that insert out, and see if we can make this happen. So, a couple things. One, be careful when you take these bolts out. That spring, that'll jump out at you. Second, there's a couple washers on the back side of that. Make sure you grab those out with the bushing, I guess you'd call that. And I was kind of right, because the original clutch puller that I bought fits. So the other two are going back. The one I got today, that can go back to the dealer tomorrow, because I bought it right from the dealer, and the other one's gonna head back on the Amazon Express. So I'm gonna try and set the camera up so you can watch me pop this clutch out. I'm gonna put the, I'm not even sure what this part's called, but I'm gonna put the outside of the housing back on to keep everything stable when this comes apart. So hopefully next thing you see is me with the camera set up running an impact. Alright, I can't think of a better way to do this, so I'm just gonna do it. We're gonna let the air charge up here first. Huh, okay, well, let's try something else. I bought this to work with our trailer. It's 110 volt Bauer, so it's Harbor Freight. So let's see if she's got enough guts in her. Wow. Not sure what to do from here. Woo! Haha! So I had to use the hydraulic tool or hydraulic trick, which is basically squirt a bunch of pumps of grease right to the base of the hole. I think that thing had gone all the way down in there and bottomed out, and that's why it was such a dead stop. So the clutch is out. I'm gonna pop it off and clean up all the grease here, and then I gotta call her quits for the moment. I know I jumped ahead in time a little bit. It's been a few days. No. But we popped off our 2 big bolts that went through here. We got the 2 15 millimeters that went through here. If you want to see a really good removal video, Grim RZR did a really good removal video for these transmissions. So I've referenced him quite a bit. And then there's 3 T45s that came out there. I don't know what these 3 holes go to, but they look really clean. So I've got a couple mounts. This mount here, we'll take off the drive line and we should be able to pull this thing out of here. So we're gonna keep moving. I got the drive shaft unbolted. I get the back transmission mount undone. Come around to this side.
Oh, baby.
We've got shifter taken off, the bracket that holds the shifter taken off. That harness is disconnected. This did poke through and stick into that hole, so we got to make sure that's disconnected. The engine did kind of shift down a little bit, but not a lot. So I don't think I'm gonna block it up. I don't think there's any room in there to block it up. So now we're gonna get some horsepower involved and actually lift this thing out of here. So I've seen in videos. Oh, there's another harness back here. I did not see that. There we go. So there's a tiny plastic sensor on the back side of this transmission. So it makes it even scarier to take it off now. Because if I break that off, it's going to cost me more money. Yeah, it just comes out, right? Just like that. Man, I wonder if this intake's going to have to come out. It almost looks like it's tucked in here underneath this too far. Unless I can rock it this way. Oh, okay. That's why they keep the engines propped up. Because if we lift this up, then I've got some space to work with. So why don't I do that then? Find a way to prop this up. Us a little space. Wedge that in there, gives us some space. Drive shaft's not in the way. We're grab me that pry bar, please.
I just stuck my finger in front of the camera on accident.
That's helpful. Just gotta be really careful not to damage the case or the harness or all those wires. Sorry, wiring harness. Everybody else makes it look so easy. Oh, there was a vent line. There was a vent line on the back side of it. We have to figure that out. Yeah, it went in that hole right there. Oops. Whew. All right. Now the true test. My lower back. Whew. Well, there it is. There it is, folks. Oh. That was less tiring than I thought it was going to be. I thought that was going to be way heavier. But it's aluminum, so. All right, we're going to get it cleaned up and braced up here and drain some fluid out of it, and we'll
be done.
We'll be done. We're not going to be done. We're not even halfway done. All right, we'll catch up with you in a minute.
Mama, playing this.
All right, we got her up on the bench, cleaned off. I cleaned this seam up real good. I didn't have any brake clean, so I had some carb clean. I cleaned it off, wiped it down. Everything else is just going to be the way it is. Blew it off a couple times with the compressed air, so we should be good. First thing I'm gonna do is take this out, then take this shift lever off, I guess, and then take the bolts out of here and pop this cover off. So I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, I popped all that out. Just be careful to lift straight up because there's a pin right here, or a bushing, whatever you want to call it, to help you line up with the hole. A couple things to clean up. That was done in assembly, that wasn't me. So just be very clean and very slow and methodical about this. All right, we took out the case bolts. Those were all in there nice. Kept everything blown off and cleaned up. This is the inside. Look how rusty that is. We haven't cleaned that up yet. We'll carefully clean that up when I take that out to do the bearings. So we've got our shift cylinder, our shift dogs. Yeah, lots of stuff, lots of bearings. These bearings don't feel bad. Nothing in here looks bad. It's just getting replaced with lower gears. We pulled the shift drum, the shift dogs, the idler, and the input. I just put 2 bearings on the idler, on the input, and then our Ranger low, the smaller gear on. Now we're moving on to this next one. I don't know the technical term for it, but this is the next shaft we're going to pull out and tear apart and put back together. I went and bought a set of snap ring pliers. They're Harbor Freight, so we'll see how long they last. And a bearing puller. I'm having a hard time getting these bearings that are right in between here, because the 3-jaw pullers don't get in behind them. So I got an actual bearing puller set. This is the reverse shaft. I got this much done. I've got the shift dog in here. This is the Ranger gear. That's snap ringed in. And now we're just working on this side, so we'll pull these gears off and put them on there, and we'll keep on going. All right, another quick update. We pulled the output shaft out. I got the new bearings in the top and bottom. Now I'm working on this one here. I know I'm not going over this in complete detail, and that's because I'm not a professional. I don't want you to copy me. The side-by-side blog, or side-by-side garage, they did some really awesome videos, and they're the ones I'm actually referencing doing this. So the Rock Ready UTV guys, tune into them, check them out. They are going to give you a detailed step-by-step. I just don't want to regurgitate everything they're saying, so just showing you what we're doing. I don't have the adjustment tool for here, so I think Christopher and I are going to do a little engineering, see what we come up with. So next thing I'm going to pull this out and get to work on and replace this plate and replace the bearings. So all right, we kind of zipped to the end. We have the case RTV'd. We did a bench test. I'll do another one here real quick. Let's see here. I'll move it over. Get things readjusted, but we're in high right now. Grab my low. Neutral. And park. So that spins. Those are locked in. So we'll put it back into high. That'll be, when I put those gears back in top there, that'll help that ratchet better, so it'll be easier to keep it in place. Like I said, go check out the side-by-side garage. Anyways, I just said it a second ago. Go check them guys out for the detailed instructions. Thought I lost a couple bolts. Turns out that's this bracket here that goes on the back. So we're good to go. This has got to sit for 24 hours. I did see we ruined this axle seal. I mean, it is what it is. So I might check the other side too, but I'll replace that. That'll be super simple. You don't have to take the case apart to do those. So we're going to order one of those and get that going. Hopefully it's here before we want to go ride anyways. Tomorrow we will start, tomorrow the next available day here. We got a busy week coming up. We'll start putting everything else back together and get it back in the machine and move on. Our Mudbuster fenders are sitting up on the porch still. We got to finish the lift in the front and wheel spacers and tires, and we can go for a test ride. So let's move on to the next step.
There we go.
Okay, so we came back out. We got the top cover put on. It's been a day or so since we last were out here. I noticed when I was editing video that I didn't show you reverse, so I got a little nervous. So we'll go through the bench test again. This is park. Everything's locked up. This is reverse. Okay, it's rolling this way. Not sure which way it's supposed to roll, but this is going to be opposite here in a second. We've got neutral. Everything's loose. We've got low. We got high. So going backwards, high, low, neutral, reverse, and park. We're gonna let this RTV set up for another day here, maybe 2. We'll see when I have time to come back out here again. But the next steps for this is she's going back in the machine. All right, well, I've been doing a little work in the garage here. And for those, half you guys are gonna be upset at transmission's in. I got home from work today and I just came out and muscled it in. It's pretty much the way, same, just reverse process the way it came out. I know I showed a lot of that. If you have any questions, just hit me up in the comments and I'll try and answer them. Right now, I'm just putting bolts back in. I slowly, kind of methodically tighten bolts up. This one right here is not tight yet. That one that looked like it was slotted. I'm gonna get all these secured and then do that one last. With Grim Razor's video, I know I referenced that earlier in this. He's got a really good install and removal stuff, so go check his stuff out. I'm gonna get back to work. Transmission is done. We ran it through the gears. Everything looks good, sounds good. Right now, Christopher is cleaning out the shaft, or the hole, I guess, where this axle goes. The other side we did when we first replaced the other axle. Tiger Tail's gonna go back on here in a minute, because that's where our fill is. I just finished greasing that wheel bearing with my greasing tool. Don't overdo it with the grease. I was just telling Christopher, I think with the 900 I had over greased and that caused some premature bearing failure. So don't over grease. I don't know what the right number of pumps is. I use the air greaser. I just spin it around, and as I'm spinning it, I pump it in until I feel like it's good. I didn't count. We're just gonna roll with it and see. So everything is good. I'm gonna put the cover back on and get the side put back together. It's greased, it's good. The axle's going back in. We ran it a few times, ran the clutches operated great. And yeah, I think that's good for the back end. I gotta figure out a way to do it without ruining the brake pad. So, just ran into a problem. Doing really good, got the control arms on. Or, what are these called? Radius rods. Good grief. Get the radius rods on, get the axle in. Had to disconnect the sway bar finally. Axle on, I gotta tighten it up and put a pin in there, but got a problem. So I took these off and I had them zip tied over here. The problem is every time I start the RZR, every time we started it, we had to hit the brakes. And so now I've got brake pads that are pinned right against each other. So the problem is we have to get these separated. The solution obviously is to get in there and pry them apart, but the issue I'm gonna have is we might break them. But I don't know. So I'm gonna figure out the best way to do that and get back with you. Alright, I got it buttoned up. I just put the brake line cover back on. The simplest solution was the obvious one. I just put a chisel in there and went to town. Separating. We are going to have to get new brakes because this side it'll work, I guess. But what made the decision easy was I remembered Christopher didn't listen to me when I told him to do it like I did. And he left his together, which turns out was a way better idea because his brake pads clamp down on the rotor, which means I shouldn't have any issues. I still need to take that rotor off and grease the bearing, but now I don't have to ruin, and I'm not saying they're ruined, they're just not the way they're supposed to be, but they're ruined. But we're not going to ruin two sides. Alright, I cut out a lot of stuff, but once I get working I can't stop. We are put back together. She runs great. The speedometer didn't change, and I think that's because it actually goes off the speed of the output shaft, not the internals of the transmission. So it's still calibrated. It's within my GPS. It's like within a mile an hour. So I think that's fine. But it did take more RPMs to get up to speed. So I know we're geared down. We got the wheel spacers in. Let me give you a good shot of the back end here. It's hard to tell looking at it, but it's 2 inches wider. And we got front coming apart. Pull the shocks out, grease the wheel bearings, put that back together. And we are getting ready to throw our brackets in, our Super ATV brackets. There's 2 of these, 1 of these, and then a bunch of nuts and bolts. And limit straps, and then electrical plugs, and I figured it out, it's for the smart shocks, and we don't have smart shocks, we've got dumb shocks. So we're good. And then I got 2 more wheel spacers to put on in the box down here. So we're gonna keep moving. Super ATV does a good install video for their lift. That's what I'm gonna be referencing, so I'm not gonna go through it step by step with you. You can just watch their stuff. So here's the finished product. I know I skipped a couple steps, but if you wanna know how the lift goes on, Super ATV did a great YouTube video. I know I've already said it already. It'll explain how that all works. The 2-inch spacers, 3-inch lift. I'm actually a little sad because now it looks like a big jacked up machine with tiny little weenie tires. It's gone up and down the road. Everything seems to work great.
Wow, it looks so freaking crazy.
Now you kind of need a step stool to get in. The 35s are going to go on there, and she's going to go up another 1.5 inches, or no, another 3 inches taller it's going to get with those 35s. Now I got more to do, but we are going to make this just part 1 because this video seems to be dragging on. Thanks for watching through the whole thing. We appreciate your support. We're glad to be back making videos again. Any questions or comments, throw them in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.